Hello everybody, Glass Half Dead here, and today on the Warhammer Community site we actually have our first faction focus. Now this is something I think that we've all been looking forwards to, certainly I have. You know, I didn't know if we were going to get like the standard factions focused on first, but obviously they've gone Commandos, and then later in the article they say they're going to do Krieg tomorrow, which now that I think about it makes a lot of sense, because obviously they're the ones that are in the Octarius box. But I have, you know, like everybody else, I've got my favourite factions. And they're not Krieg or Commandos, so I'm kind of hoping they give us more faction foci. But for now, let's jump in and let's see what they say. I'm going to read you the article, and I'm going to give you, I'm going to pull out bits of information that I think are relevant, as if I know the game. I obviously don't. Sneaking slowly through the underbrush, stalking their prey with uncharacteristic patience, the Ork Kommandos are an altogether different breed of threat for kill teams operating in the Octarius sector. Quick note, sorry, just thought of it. These are the Commandos. We know the sub-faction, the faction is Commandos, but we also know from the squinting that there is a Greenskins team. That's not just squinting, it's also the web page, the website that is specifically for Kill Team. The Greenskins, the ones that we would traditionally think of as the full Ork team in Kill Team, which gives you, you know, your looters, your burners, your all that stuff. They are not the same, okay? I just want to throw that out there. The Commandos, although I'm sure you could technically proxy one from there to use in your Greenskin faction, they are different. They are different factions. As far as we know, they will not be cross-compatible in any way because they do not share the faction keyword. And as far as we know, that is what you need to be, you know, to use in the same list. They are still just orcs, so you can proxy them, but it's different. Anyway, generals expecting hordes of brutish killers instead find themselves pinned down by sniper fire, ambushed by wall-breaching drills, and chopped to pieces by monstrous greenskins that leave survivors baffled as to how they managed to creep up on them. We've picked out some of the most dangerous orcish operators and asked Wes, one of the game's playtesters, for his thoughts on this cunning band of greenskins. Now, for those of you that don't know, Wes is one of the hosts of D6 Evolution. You can go check out their YouTube right now if you want. They haven't posted for like a year due to COVID. He reached out to me, I reached out to him. They are hopefully going to start posting Kill Team content again soon, but that's Wes. Da Choppy Boys. Now, I think if we all had to ask Da Choppy Boys, hey, what's up, my boy, they would probably try and say that if you're a subscriber to my channel, I would like to give you a big double hello. Wow, who knew that Choppy Boys could be so wholesome? I think we could all give them big thank you, sayonara, konnichiwa. What am I doing? If you would like a double hello in the next video, without all that weirdness, a like, subscribe, and a comment would be awesome. Thank you very much, really helps the channel. Really tells me and the community at large, of course, that Kill Team is here to stay. So, they may differ from regular orcs by sticking to their shadows and only bellowing war once their cover is blown, but Commandos are still every bit as lethal as their less subtle chums. Those diehards who love to charge their opponents won't be disappointed by their choppers, which can quickly end a guardsman in a single bout of combat, Wes explains. However, Commandos come into their own when they play with the guile that they are famed for. What's happening with my green screen? Right, hold on. While all orcs love physical violence, Commandos can be much more singular in their passion. The Knob, for instance, is perfectly at home, cracking his own boys' skulls as often as his enemies, and keeps order using more than size and violence. And asterisk keeps order using little more. Sorry, I like more than size and violence. What else do orcs need? Little more than size and violence, with an asterisk of which in orc terms makes him a staunch traditionalist when we think about it. That would have been a much better sentence if I hadn't tripped over my own tongue. Classic Glass. Okay, so this is the full Commando Knob data sheet, it looks like. Notice here we have the Ork Commando faction keyword. We then have Ork as just a keyword, not the faction. We have Clan. We have Commando Knob. So I think it's going to be super interesting because I assume that Clan is the same for Commando and Ork. So whatever we get coming out for like sub-factions is going to affect both of them equally. And now that I think about it, The Krieg, I think we've seen, also have regiment. And I'm just going to take a wild stab here and say that the Imperial Guard from the Compendium, whenever that comes out, is also going to have regiment. So whatever affects one's going to affect both, which will be interesting. Before I read out his data sheet, let's see if they say anything. So, meanwhile, oh, no, we just move straight on. Okay, we just get to look at the data sheet. Right, gotcha. Cool. So, Slugger, Big Chopper, Power Claw. Just in case anybody wonders, obviously we don't get to use a Big Chopper and a Power Claw. We're going to have to pick one. We've got range of red, pentagon, 6 inches. And then we've got brutal. We haven't found out what brutal means, so now obviously we see that Power Claw there, as we would expect. He's doing like -1 weapon skill. That's the way it works over in 40k as well. We can assume that's probably going to be similar, so any sort of like Power Claw, Power Fist type weapon will be -1 to hit. But of course in this way it's just baked into the data sheet, because that's how this game works. Cool. And then we see the 7 on the crit there, which is the same, if I recall, as the Custodes Guardian Spearing melee. It seems that melee seems to be where our big damage comes. But obviously this guy, interestingly, I mean, okay, maybe this is what brutal means, but there's no AP on a Power Claw. Right? Like, that's one of the big, strong weapons of the game, like, the world of 40k. And no AP, nothing. I mean, okay, we don't know what brutal means, but like it's not like packed with special rules. Interesting. And 13 wounds. That's something else to note. 13 wounds, which is almost double a guardsman. We still don't really know how lethal this game is. At least I don't. Although I will say right now, man, this time. So one thing I've noticed is, so I've been doing some rolling using the rules that we currently know. And I will say that so far, things die quick. Specifically guardsmen. Guardsmen are what I'm kind of rolling numbers for and dice. Man, they just die. Like, just a lasgun will just kill a guardsman. Like, 5-up armor save, not good. Which, you know, tracks. Right? I mean, that makes sense. Yeah, a 5-up armor save, just because you're rolling it 3 times. Hey, guess what? You're being shot 4 times. You're gonna die. So that's really interesting. I like the speed at which my guardsmen rolling, the speed at which they die. I'm thinking, they're not gonna be around for long. So maybe this is gonna be a half hour game when I play, because my guardsmen just die. Anyway, just so what I mean by that is, so we're looking at that Power Claw and you're thinking, oh, well, okay, you know, yeah, of course, because they just need to get 1 crit and your guardsman dies. Makes sense. I'm saying no, his slugger will one-shot your guardsman, okay? Seriously, things just die. Anyway, meanwhile, the particularly eager Breacher Boy isn't about to let minor obstacles like solid ferrocrete walls get between him and a scrap. With his ability to smash straight through most terrain, the Breacher Boy is one to watch out for. Wes notes, he's great for grabbing objectives or catching an enemy operative unawares. Breach. Each time this operative performs a normal move, dash, or charge action, it can move through parts of terrain features that are no more than 1 inch thick, as if they were not there. Now, obviously, we haven't exactly seen the Ork terrain, or just terrain in general, but if you have any other Games Workshop terrain, their walls are never 1 inch thick. That's really thick for just a chunk of plastic. So this basically means he could just get through anything. It could be a normal move, a dash, or a charge. Like, you could just charge straight through a wall. That's a bit crazy, I'm not going to lie. Yeah. As the ancient Orc saying goes, when all you have is a chopper, everything looks like a umi. That's really good, actually. Yeah, fair play. I'll give him that. Normally, I don't like the terrible jokes that WarCom does, but that was pretty good, yeah. With more weapons than he can hold in 2 hands, the Slasher Boy sees a lot of humis to chop. Oh, we're talking about the Slasher Boy now. Okay. Oh, interesting. So with each of these, they're just kind of saying, here it is, and just giving us it. They're not like giving us any analysis. It's just, here's the Commando knob. Here's the Breacher. Here's the Chopper. Was it Chopper Boy? Slasher Boy? Slasher Boy sees a lot of humies to chop. These boys are so blood crazed that any fighter who manages to slip past their guard gets a swift headbutt for their trouble. This is the Slasher Boy. Dat all you got? Question mark. Each time after this operative fights in combat, if it lost any wounds in that combat but was not incapacitated, you can roll 1d6 and 4 up the enemy operative that fought it in that combat suffers 2 mortal wounds. So 50-50, if you don't die, they take 2 mortal wounds. Okay. Cool. Fair enough. I don't really know, like, is that effective? I assume mortal wounds obviously are really good against Custodes, less good against Guardsmen, right? Because it's like the comparative way to get wounds through on that model is different. So 2 mortal wounds on a Guardsman, fine. On a Custodes, nice. Dashooty boys, Dashooty boys. Long periods away. Sorry, I should have done this whole article. Whenever they've used Ork speech, I should have done the Ork voice. I'll do it from now on. I apologise. I should have done the double hello in an Ork voice as well. That's on me. That's on me. You know, I'm still a small YouTuber, still learning. Peace be with you, my friends. Long periods away from their clans lead many commanders to adopt un-Orky practices like training, and some even become shockingly proficient marksmen. For an Ork, that is. The Dakka boy has discovered that blasting away with his triple-barreled Dakka shooter is just as much fun as hitting things, and he's an unusually accurate and mobile attacker that few opponents see coming. Wes found a good use for this commando skills during playtesting. Dakka Dash allows the Dakka boy to unload on unsuspecting enemy operatives before dashing back into the relative safety of cover, he says. The game's psychology of this is enormous, and when placed in the right part of the battlefield, he's virtually unstoppable. Commando Dakka boy. The stat line's normal, 10 wounds. 10 wounds. That's, we believe that 10 is the standard commando wound line. I think. That was a little bit hard to squint out. I first said they were 14, and it turns out I was just squinting at the wrong frame of that particular video. So Dakka shooter attacks 5. Now we know that 5 attacks is good. Weapon skill 4 up. Ballistic skill 4 up. Damage 3, 4, and then unload slugs as a special rule. And we get to see what unload slugs is right here. Unload slugs. Each time this operative makes a shooting attack with this weapon, in the roll attack dice step of that shooting attack, if the target is within 6 inches of it, you can reroll any or all of your attack dice. Okay, so with a 5 dice, you have a 4 up, that's a 50-50, so you're hitting with, 2/3 of them. You then get to reroll, that's an extra 25%. You're hitting, quick maths, 4 of your attack dice there. I mean, so you're putting through, assuming that they fail their saves, you're putting through 4 times 3, 12 damage, and I don't know, one of them might be a crit. So that's pretty good, 12 damage from one attack, I guess, like, as I say, quick maths. And that's assuming you fail all your saves. Obviously, this is going to be super different. If you're shooting into Guardsmen, this is like what I was saying. This gun into a Guardsman will kill the Guardsman. But if we go and look at a Marine, oh, well, suddenly you've got 3 up saves, so you're stopping like 6 damage, no problem, blah, blah, blah. And then unique action of a Dakka Dash. This is what they were just talking about. 1 AP. Perform a free shoot action and free dash action with this operative in any order. Let's think about that. So, basically, instead of shooting, or instead of dashing, we still don't know what a dash is, I believe, you will use this instead. So, think about it. If you want to shoot, just assume that you don't have the shoot action. You would instead use Dakka Dash, because that allows you to shoot and then do something else. I suppose even if you don't then do something else, you can still use Dakka Dash. Just pretend this guy doesn't have shoot on as an action he can perform. You would always Dakka Dash. And then, yeah, we still don't know what a dash is. The insinuation and, the name dash, we don't know exactly what dash is, but clearly it's a move of some kind, saying that, he can dash back into the relative safety of cover. So presumably it's a small move. Maybe it's like 1 circle or something. So, shoot, run away. Obviously, that's going to interact with cover in some way. You pop out, fire, get back in cover. Kind of like, who was it that did that in 40k? It was famously, I think it was in 6th edition, the Tau Crisis battle suits you could, or just anything with fly, like you could jump out, shoot, and then like the town generic crisis ability was you could then move again, and so you pop out of cover, shoot, pop back into cover. You were like impossible to kill. Tower really strong in 6th. Anyway, the idea of an orc sniper might seem ludicrous to some, asterisk, 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 so ludicrous that some blame their attacks on the Inquisition, which is absurd, naturally. But commandos take wicked glee in dropping their enemies from afar. The snipper boy, I do snipper. Sniper, I know it's sniper, but snipper. Is still an orc, of course, so he wields a scoped big shooter rather than a flimsy rifle like other factions. If you fire more bullets, you're more likely to hit, right? And here we see something cray, right? Look at that, 6 attacks. This is the first weapon we've seen with more than 5 attacks. Unless I'm forgetting one. We've, like, flamers have 5. This is the first with 6. And you're hitting on 3s. That's not a bad ballistic skill at all. Like, what are you getting there? You're getting 4 hits, 2-2, and then any 6. So, is 2 damage just straight away, immediately, you have done 2 damage. As soon as you roll those dice, you see a 6, 2 damage from the mortal wound. No armor, nothing. You just take 2 damage. Then, you still get to take over that crit into the, like, the resolving of the dice pool phase. So it could be an additional 2 damage unless the enemy rolls a 6 or a critical save on their defense to counter it. So, crazy. I mean, that seems potentially really strong, right? Like, 6 dice seems crazy. Just primarily because of the ability to, like, to roll 6s. From what others have said, and seems true to me, rolling 6s is really big in this game. You would rather take more dice and actually do less damage, because 6s are much harder to block getting through. Also, obviously, 6s tend to have a special ability of some sort. So, scoped big shooter, sniper boy here, super strong. Oh, and I just noticed, his tooth is a bullet. The other boys, burner boys, rocket boys, and comm specialists add their own strategic options to the commandos, but you have to wait to find out more about them. They're still under deep cover, fair enough. Let's not forget the deranged commando grot, though, which is both annoying and hilarious, Wes tells us. Used well, this grot will win you games, he says. The grappling hook can zoom the grot across the board to a piece of terrain so that's visible to it, where it can grab an objective and zoom back to safety. Now, we've already seen this. We've seen the commando grot datasheet already, and sure enough, we've seen that ability. But also, people then put together that if you have one, I can't remember what the secondary was called, but basically you need to just get your model off the other side of the board. And of course, this little grappling hook thing seems that if there's any terrain near the edge of the board, that's like an auto score, like really good. Many thanks to Wedge for the playtester insight on this gang of dangerous specialists. The commandos are one of the 2 forces you'll find in Kill Team Octarius, so join us again tomorrow as we get to know the Veteran Guarsdmen of Krieg. The new edition is rapidly approaching with pre-orders opening this month, so you'll want to scoop up as much intel as you can. And then it's talking about painting and how to paint them and trying to sell us paints, which seems odd. That was probably a very tactical choice from the WarCom team, because logically, after an article like this, you would want to link to the commandos, which haven't released yet. So secondarily, you'd probably want to link to the Ork faction page. But, as I mentioned at the beginning, coincidentally, the greenskin faction, which are orcs in 40k, are not the commando faction. So if they link to that, you'd end up buying, potentially, you'd be hoodwinked, sir. You'd go out and you'd buy a whole bunch of, orc models, and none of them are usable with the faction that you've just read the preview for. So, although it seems a little bit odd for them to just randomly tack on painting at the end, actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah, can't argue with that. Good job. This guy here, scoped big shooter. I'm liking it. This looks stronger than anything else so far. Like the Daka Dash, that seems a bit technical, right? It's seems more annoying, potentially, than actually strong. I mean, as I said, that's still 5 attacks with that Daka shooter. So you're going to kill Guardsmen, no problem. And obviously, if you're up against, like, some... Well, I don't know. I was going to say, if you're up against the Marines, then the Power Claw would be the one to go for. But actually, like... You don't have any AP, unless Brutal was AP. But then why wouldn't it just be AP? I don't know. That seems a bit weird. It seems like armor, like high armor save, is going to be stronger and better than in the previous edition of Kill Team. Because I know that we are seeing a lot of AP on weapons, but I think that's just because they're showing us a lot of gunners. So in reality, in a team, you're not actually going to have lots of AP. I mean, maybe you will, I don't know. Like, this is all speculation. But like, obviously Plasma has AP, and obviously Melter has AP. But otherwise... Oh, and possibly a Sniper, I don't know. But I don't think we're going to see much AP on the board. Just throwing that out there, it's a possibility, who knows. What else? Breacher. That seems potentially cool just because of how mobile he is. Which is kind of weird because obviously he's like quite heavily armoured. And he's got a huge weapon. You'd think, oh, he can't move very fast maybe. Nope. Doesn't matter. This is essentially, Breach is essentially letting him move like a Harlequin. He doesn't care about terrain, he's just going straight through it. So that seems horrifying. And Scope Big Shooter. For whatever reason, this guy seems like the one to go for. Big fan. I like it. Now, you might be wondering, what's he doing? Why is he kind of freezing like that? That's because I'm really lazy, and with thumbnails, I'm literally just taking a still of the video. I can't be bothered with doing anything more than that when I have to do a video a day. So that little freeze there is probably what you're seeing on the thumbnail. You know, you got to like... I guess you're meant to make some sort of face. Anyway, guys, this is the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for making it to the end of the video. Awesome of you. Commandos, what do you think of them? In 40k, when it comes to Orks in general, I'm like a bit of a love-hate relationship. I've done my Orks blue and yellow and tan. Blue skin, what do you think? What do you think about that? I think Commandos with blue skin makes total sense, obviously. Blue, a very stealthy colour, everybody knows that. I'm looking forward to doing them. I do think that the Orks are really cool. You know, in Age of Sigmar, they just released the Cruel Boys? I think they look terrible. I like the cartoony look of these Orks, like 100%. Anyway, these guys, cool. Thumbs up. Maybe double thumbs up is is the one I'm gonna use. I don't know. I don't know. What should I do? Do you think like maybe that would be the one I use. Who knows? Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. You made it to the end of the video. I'd like to give you a big triple hello. Such wholesomeness. Much appreciation from me to you. I will see you tomorrow, probably at about the same time, for Krieg. Let's hope we see their version of the sniper. Is it just going to be the same? That seems weird, because as they say, this is a scope big shooter, whereas the other one should just be like a single rifle. It wouldn't be one shot, that would be crazy, but it might only be like 3 dice. Except, I guess, then to balance it out, it does massive mortal wound damage or something like that. Have we already seen the long las? I feel like we have. I'm clearly just forgetting something, aren't I? Whatever, we'll see it tomorrow. Anyway, guys, this is Big Glass Update. Thank you very much for watching. See you tomorrow. Have a good one.